Hey, thanks for checking out this year's senior night video. A very special thank you to the friends and the family members of the graduating class of 2018. It's been one of our deepest joys to partner with you in raising these boys and girls into young men and women of God. It's so crazy to see these photos of them in 6th grade, going to their first winter camp and worrying about the bedtime, or running through the gauntlet as a life group, an event that has since been blacklisted for the last 4 years. It's so cool to see how God has grown them closer together and drawn them closer to Himself. And that's what this video is all about. We want to celebrate a huge accomplishment. Not just getting good GPAs and finishing finals and senior projects. These students have stuck it out when very few students do. Over 40% of 17 through 19-year-olds drop out of church. These students are not a statistic. They are not part of the status quo. They are something so very special. And in this video, you're gonna get the opportunity to hear from them as they leave a little bit of legacy with us, as they share what God's taught them over these last years as a part of Renewal. So check it out.
Guys, as you rise up as adults, without exception, I hope you all fall more in love with God each day. I'd like to remind you that I hate you all are moving away after high school. I hope you never call upon the wrong kinds of people in life. I hope you constantly lose yourself in the Word of God. I'd like to offer a few words of wisdom. First, don't let anyone ever tell you that you're too young to drink from the well of wisdom of your parents and peers. Second, when it comes to relationships, be as reckless as possible in your love for others. And finally, want to know what will make you happy in the long run? Weed out the sin in your life and focus on faithfulness to the Lord. To all of you, I truly hope that your life is marked with trouble and distress, that you experience loss and sadness, and that you learn new depths of soul-crushing despair, as little as possible. Honestly, I can't wait for the day that you all die to yourself and live for the Lord. In the end, I fully expect you will all amount to nothing short of true world changers. I love you guys.
I wish somebody would have told me, babe, that someday these would be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, or these reckless nights you won't regret. Someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of these good old days.
It has been a long journey, just starting from 8th grade with most of you and all the way up till now. And you know, I could sit here and say a bunch of stuff, but to sum everything up, I just really want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to be your leader. It was a tough transition when I came in, but I felt like I have just gotten really close to all of you, and you are my brothers, and I'm just honored to be a part of your life. I am always going to cherish the memories that we have, and you boys have grown so much, and I'm so stinking proud of you.
Hello, lovelies. Here we are, it's your senior night. Can you believe it? These past 5 years together have been such an amazing journey. I know it hasn't always been easy, but I am so proud of you for sticking with Renewal, for investing in each other, and continuing to grow your relationship with Jesus. You have helped me to become a better woman of God, a better wife and mother, and a better leader. Those are opportunities I would not have had I not joined you on this journey. We've also had some really great adventures, haven't we? I mean, come on, we're talking the gauntlet win of 2014, food relays that I'm sure we'd all rather forget, late night talks at winter camp, dodgeball costumes that definitely help make up for our lack of athletic ability, impacting Portland together, hiking through the Sawtooths, and I will never forget jumping off of that rock into Redfish Lake with you guys encouraging me and believing in me when I was so scared I could hardly move. You guys will always be my girls. A part of me is going to leave with each of you at the end of this year, and you will forever be in my heart. I am so proud of you, and I'm excited to see what God has in store for you in this next season of your life. Know that I love you always, to the moon and beyond.
I wish somebody would have told me, babe, that someday these would be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, all these reckless nights you won't regret. Someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of these good old days.
Hey ladies, I just wanted to say that I'm so proud of you guys, and I am just so thankful that I've had these last 7 years with you guys. I just want you to remember how beautiful you are and how much worth you have in Christ, and that He's always there for you. And I just want you to know that we're always here for you. I'm always here for you. I'm just a text or a call away. All the camps and the hangouts and every Wednesday night, it'll be definitely different when you guys are off to college, but yeah, you guys are going to do amazing things, and I can't wait to see what God has next for you.
Wow, it's been 7 years, 7 whole years. Some days it feels really short, and other days I'm like, dang, this has been a long time. Just kidding, love you guys. We've shared a ton of memories and experiences, whether it was praying that we would find a girl that these Tom shoes would fit for, and then we'd find her like 5 minutes later in the park, doing hair and makeup before your proms, scraping off shingles on a roof in Mexico, which is blazing hot, to just experiencing God's presence through reading scripture at camp. It's been so great, and we've shared so many memories. They say being a leader is a chance for you to share your experience and wisdom with those following you. But God has used you guys to show me His heart and to really just hear wisdom from you guys. I don't know where I would be without you guys, with all your laughs, with all the tears. It's been so great. You've been really well prepared for this next phase of your life. Some of you are going to college, some of you are getting jobs, just being examples to those around you, and it's so amazing. I just want to let you know I'm honored to be a part of this night to celebrate you. Always choose Jesus first. So many times in my life, He's come through, and in ways that are more than I even asked for. So I love you guys. I'll always be here for you. It's not goodbye. See you later.
I wish somebody would have told me, babe, that someday these would be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, all these reckless nights you won't regret. I wish somebody would have told me, babe, that someday these would be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, all these reckless nights you won't regret. I wish somebody would have told me, babe, someday these would be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, all these reckless nights you won't regret. Someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of these good old days.
First, we have Anaya Schultz.
Hi guys, so I'm going to share with you just a few ways that God has impacted me during the time that I've been in high school and just things that I've learned about Him. So 3 major areas that God has really impacted me through and just shown me a lot of His character have been through service, just other people, and through my everyday life and experience. So first, I'm going to talk about service. While I've been in high school, I've had several opportunities to go on outreach trips here in my own community in Boise, as well as a couple times to Portland, Oregon. And I've worked a lot with the homeless through those, and it's just been really cool to do that, as I've learned to just see people the way that God sees them, as they are each His children, His beloved children, just like I am, just like you all are. And through that, God has really changed my heart to want to do things for others, to serve Him, because He really is a gracious and loving God. And through that, He's also shifted my perspective on life, just the way that I view the opportunities that I have, and just see those people around me and learn to not be so judgmental, but first step back, listen to their story, and realize that everyone has a background and a story to tell, and something they've been through, something that has brought them to where they are at today. The second area is through people and relationships. Through that, like I haven't always had the greatest time with friends. You know, I've been through ups and downs through that, but and just finding those godly relationships with friends, and building stronger relationships with my parents and my brothers, and I've just come to realize and understand the importance of relationships, those friendship relationships, those family relationships, and that relationship with God that He has designed for us, and just the way that He's designed those relationships to be, whether that's with your boyfriend or girlfriend, your husband or wife, your friends, your best friends, your brothers, your sisters, your aunts and uncles, moms and dads. Just God has a special design for each one of those relationships, and so I've learned the importance of those, and just the way that He designed those to be, because each one of them is essential, and He made us for a relationship, to love and to be loved by others. So it goes both ways, and that's been a really cool thing for me to learn. And lastly, just through everyday life and personal experience, God has just taught me that importance of depending on Him, and just the importance of having that trust in Him and a strong relationship, because you know He's there to carry you through all the hard parts in life, and without Him you really couldn't do anything, because that's not the way we were made. We weren't made to walk through life on our own. We were made to walk through life with God. And yeah, that's just really cool, because He has definitely lifted me up in so many ways through my struggles, and also in my good times. And yeah, so that's something that's really special.
Next up, Bella Kohlberg.
Most of you probably don't know me, but if you do, then you know that my life hasn't necessarily been easy these past 4 years. I've been through a lot of things that no one should have to experience. From losing my brother, to divorce, to a semi-recent diagnosis with a chronic illness, it's been a long road to get here. For a while, all of these things used to push me away from God, but He was still there for me whenever I was ready to come back to Him. I began to understand how loved I was by Him, how beautifully and unconditionally loved. Through this, as I grew, I realized how destructive my relationship with fear had been. Fear is not from God. Fear and anxiety tore me apart, and it still is something that I struggled through. But if there's anything that I've learned and anything that I can always seek comfort in, it is that God is love and God is light. He is not passive. He is burning with passion and conviction. The most difficult times in my life were not actually the trials I faced, but the times where I grew lazy in my relationship with him. If there's anything that I could leave as my final testament as a senior, it is that every day we get to choose whether or not we want to love God and how deeply we want to pursue our relationship with him. Some days you won't make the right choice. Some days you will be apathetic and it will hurt you, but God will still be there with open arms and you can always run to him. The best days of my life are the days that I choose to love God with the same reckless abandon that he chooses over and over again to love me. And for my fellow seniors, as we go our own ways, I pray that all of our futures are overflowing with days just like this.
Next, we have Coral Robichaud.
Hey guys, tonight I really wanted to just say thank you. Thank you to my life group. These precious girls and our amazing leaders have stood by me since 7th grade, and I love them so much. They are truly a blessing from God that I don't deserve. This past year was definitely the hardest year of my life. After my parents' very messy divorce a little over a year ago, I fell into depression. I felt lonely and lost. I felt empty and hollow and broken. I struggled with trusting God. Life became meaningless and hollow, and there were so many days that I honestly just wasn't sure if life was even worth living anymore. Some of you know what I'm talking about. And though I can't say that I've necessarily overcome all of that, I can say that through it all, the one constant that I could always count on when everything else in my life felt shattered and empty was the knowledge that I could come here every Sunday and Wednesday and be around people in my life group who really cared and loved me, and who could remind me of the beauty of living and keep me centered in my faith through it all. I'm so grateful for all these beautiful girls and our amazing leaders, for all the love and support that they've given me. I love you guys, and I thank you, and I thank God for each and every one of you.
Next up, we have Faith Hunt.
Somewhere along the lines of childhood and adolescence, we realize that life is suddenly heavy. We believe there are high expectations we are supposed to meet and roles we are supposed to fill. One morning we wake up running and realize that if we don't start sprinting, we'll fall behind. I had this fearful realization back in junior high and went through a long stretch where I thought this was reality. But this fear transformed into something so much greater, and I can say that now is the most interested I have ever been in being alive. When I couldn't handle it and slowed down, I learned that it can be great to stop sprinting and start walking. Surprisingly, we don't fall behind. When we walk, we have the time to point out our favorite clouds, pick up cool-looking rocks, and hold hands. When we sprint, we miss out on all the beautiful things God has so purposefully placed in our path. That might sound juvenile, but it should, because one thing has been constant throughout my life. I've always been pretty childlike and overly enthusiastic. I spent a lot of time with kids, and I can honestly full-heartedly say those are the times I feel most like me. I thrive when I slow down and enjoy the things I enjoyed as a kid. There is something so upfront and honest about childhood, and I see why Jesus says, unless we turn and become like children, we will never enter the kingdom of heaven. It's ironic, but as I'm growing up and adjusting my grad cap, I find nothing more important than holding on to my childlike self. I'm not saying be childish and immature. You learn a lot of important lessons as you grow, but make sure you don't lose those important qualities God gifted us when we were young. My first word was outside, and that's the place I spent a majority, if not all of my childhood. Who didn't? Get out. You can't admire God's creation from your couch. We see his divine power is in his creation, and he is seeking you in every sunset, every mountaintop, every starry night, and you have to show up to see it. Remember when grudges were forgotten by the end of recess, and our forgiveness was too quick for the sun to set on our anger? Let your bitterness go. It'll cause you nothing but pain. The heaviest things for us to accept are the things that will end up making us lighter. As kids, we used to be relentless with our whys and how comes. There is immense value in asking questions and seeking truth. Live a life that is driven by curiosity, not fear. Finally, the reason I find children so admirable is for their bold, sacrificial love. Love is the nicest word I can think of, and kids not only tell you how much they love you, but show it. Act on every loving impulse. Say hi, or you look nice, or great job. Share a smile or a hug or two. Simply be childlike with your love, reckless and with your heart on your sleeve. You can mend hearts with the simplest actions. It's the greatest power and most useful gift that Jesus has commanded us to use. I most definitely don't know it all and surely don't plan on growing up too quick. I am a wobbly, vulnerable lover of Jesus, and I'm trying my best to live life how he intended. But if there was something I could have known throughout my junior high and high school years, it was to hold on to all those things that lit you up like a fireworks show on the 4th of July. Stop trying to grow up so fast and remember to walk. I pray that you remember to be childlike with your passions and your faith. I pray you have the guts to live a life of joyful unsettlement. I pray that you never become familiar with the act of staying the same or comfortable or the safety of being comfortable. I pray you have a human life built of excitement and an honest reaching towards something greater than yourself.
Next, we have Maddie Boland.
How God has impacted me. Wow, that's a lot to say in 2 mere minutes. God has impacted me through Renewal by establishing and investing in my faith, encouraging it to grow and develop over time. As I enter into the real world, I feel that I have developed a strong foundation that is ready to weather all the challenges thrown at it. He has also impacted me by allowing me to be a student leader to an amazing group of girls. Shout out to the 8th grade ladies. Where are you at? Okay. Thank you for letting me be your student leader. You have all touched me and taught me in ways I couldn't have imagined. God has also impacted me through my life group. It has really changed over the years, both in size and maturity. As I enter into this phase of my life as being a senior, I've actually experienced a lot of loss with friendships. And my life group is the one thing that stays constant, and it's the thing that I can always run to, and I always have a friend in there. And one thing I have to say to the rest of you still here is never take Renewal for granted. Even if you don't want to go or you're not really feeling it, my mom always told me that's when you really need to go, is when you don't want to go. So never take it for granted and enjoy it while you still can.
Next, we have Malia Duenas.
Hey, you guys. So if you didn't already know, I'm a leader of the 8th grade ladies as well. And being their leader has been the best part of my high school experience. I've seen so much of myself in them, so I thought I'd pass on some advice before I leave in the fall. Girls, please trust the Lord with all your heart. God has some amazing plans for you, and even though they might not be what God will always make what you want, God will always make it work, and he will always persevere through the trials. A Bible verse that has meant a lot to me is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. I hope that you will always remember this verse, and that when the future seems daunting to you, turn to God and text me out of the blue. I love you guys, and I'll miss you so much. You are wonderful women of God.
And now we have Michaela Dom.
In the night, I'm alone. Without you, I'm drifting off. But when you take my hand, I'm so high up, I'll never land. Yes, those are words to one of my favorite rap songs, and no, I'm not going to sing them. But did you know that they're also in the Bible? Psalm 73 verse 23 says, Nevertheless, I am continually with you. You have taken hold of my right hand. With your counsel you will guide me, and afterward receive me to glory. The Lord is the one we need to hold on to, and I wish I would have believed that at the start of this whole journey. You see, I grew up in the church, and I knew I was supposed to love God with all my heart and my mind and my soul. But for the longest time, I did just the opposite. I ran away from God and towards the world, trying to hold on to things that inevitably eluded me. School, sports, boys, I chased them all, but to no avail. It was then that I finally realized that I needed to hold on to God and God alone. I needed to let him take hold of my hand and lead me where he wanted me. Through music, winter camps, and my amazing group of Renewal leaders and friends, I learned about what it looked like to live a life and build relationships that were centered around God. Thank you also to my parents who stood with and for me through it all. I really couldn't have done it without your unconditional support. In closing, I know that I'm still growing in this area, as I bet many of y'all are too. But I would encourage you to see and truly believe that your identity is found in Christ alone, and that when you take his hand, you'll be so high up, you'll never land. Thank you.
All right, next we have Maya Harrington.
All right, so I wanted to walk up here all confident and cool, but I am super nervous. To give you guys all a little background, I'm homeschooled, which means this is my first social interaction. I'm really glad you guys laughed at that. All right. I haven't been here as long as most, but I felt very much a part of everything. And I really appreciate how my life group just welcomed me in and put my nerves at ease. I've made some fantastic friendships here with some really awesome people. They've enriched my life so much by always laughing and joking with me, wanting to hear about my life, and I know they're always up for doing something goofy and weird.
And it's not all about the students. The leaders here are amazing. They all really just want the best for all of us. They put so much work into their preaching, setting up fun events, and giving us the time and space we need to talk through our problems. I just want to say thanks for everything this church has given me. The only way it could be better here is if they give out $1 million checks or something. I'm not saying they have to. That's just a suggestion. Thank you, guys.
Next up is Natalie Osnauer.
So something I've learned over the past couple years in high school is faithfulness. And I want to show you guys how I've seen that, especially in Renewal. So my leaders have always been faithful to me, no matter how consistent I was at Renewal. For example, last year, when I wasn't going to Renewal a lot at the time, I was in the hospital because I had a virus, and Whitney and Shayna were my first visitors in the hospital. Whitney braided my hair and sat in the bed with me, and Shayna made bracelets with me, and that meant so much to me. Like, they have no idea that I still think about that all the time. And Jen, earlier freshman year, I had a time of wavering doubt and just a lot of anxiety, and Jen sent me books and encouraging texts just to help me through that, and she really shepherded me during that time. And they met me where I was, and they just were so faithful to me because they serve a faithful God, and that is something that I've taken into my life in order to serve as in a leadership role in the community, just young life, things like that. And so I just want to encourage all of you guys to, one, thank your leaders, because it is so much sacrifice and dedication to be here and invest in all of your lives. And two, just to really invest in them, because they've invested in you and they want to shepherd you and grow alongside you. And so I would definitely just use that. So thank you for you guys to pouring into me. It's inspired me so much. And thank you guys for being the hands and feet of Christ, because, yeah, I love you guys.
Next up, Samantha Sutton.
Hi guys. Sorry, I'm super nervous, but unlike Maya, I'm not homeschooled. I'm just antisocial. So I'm gonna share with you guys some of the things I wish I knew when I was younger. I look back and I see how much I've grown up, and it still surprises me. But one thing I did wish I knew when I was younger is God only gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors. Another thing is you're not fighting those battles alone. Last year, I stopped going to church for almost a year, and it's been a really big struggle to come back. But I learned fighting your demons is a lot easier with people who love you and care about you. So to my wonderful life group and my wonderful leaders, thank you for letting me come back and loving me.
Next up, Shelby Gallinet.
So I've grown up in the church. I've always been one of those people who don't really feel like they have a story because they've never experienced a moment necessarily that turned them from a life without God to a life with God. So initially, coming up here to talk to you all tonight really scared me. I wasn't sure I'd have anything to talk about. But the reality is that I have a lot to talk about. And by a lot, I mean a lot of people with a lot of love. I could go down the list of all of the girls and all of the leaders sitting over there, outlining everything they've done to make me feel absolutely overwhelmed by love. In all of those little stories, you'd see one major theme. Our relationship has been built on honesty, humility, and trust, and from willingness to be vulnerable with each other and willingness to listen to one another. I've grown closer to these ladies than to anyone else in my life. They've proved to me that Jesus' love is real, possible, and alive today. They've fundamentally changed my life for Christ. Beyond all the sermons, communion, prayers, and even mission trips, I truly believe that relationships are where we feel God the most. So don't underestimate the love you feel in your life group, with your leaders, with your friends, from your pastors, and from your families. When you feel lost in your faith, you can fall back on it. You can remember that God is working in your life, and you can remember that God loves you. And most importantly, you can remember that this thing we call Christianity isn't just about going through the motions of going to church and on Sundays and doing all of the right things. It's about Jesus' unconditional love.
Next, we have Sierra Howell.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. High school is really hard. Granted, it's not as bad as junior high. Sorry, you guys. But it's really hard. Maintaining friendships is hard. Refraining from slapping someone is hard. Keeping your grades up is hard. Balancing everything between extracurriculars and AP classes and relationships, whether it's friends or family or romantic, is hard. Possible, but hard. You need backup. Your friends may or may not always be there. Same with your parents. Sometimes you just need a break. You need time to gain back your self-esteem and take a breath. Take in all the Jesus vibes. You know what I'm talking about. I couldn't have survived high school with the amount of things I got involved in, all the drama, without having a specific time set aside every week, once a week, to force me to get back in with Jesus. So that being said, I'm pretty sure all of you will go through a time when it seems like you're drowning and that it's all just too much. Come to Renewal. Take some time to reconnect with Jesus. It works. Get them Jesus vibes. They're important.
We're all so appreciative of them and just all the time and energy and effort that they've invested into our lives over the years. And so we would just like to give them a little gift of appreciation. So, yeah.
All right, guys, I hope you guys got me something. I'm just saying. My name's Charlie. I'm one of the leaders for the senior guys, along with Joey Marchielli. Yeah, we make a good team. Joey's the nice one. I'm the not nice one. Someone mentioned tonight, and it's very true, I didn't sign up for youth ministry. This wasn't what I thought my calling would be. Basically, our guys ran all their leaders off, and they had no one. True story. So they were leaderless, and they were kind of homeless, and so they said, hey, will you volunteer to lead these guys when they go on a Portland trip? It'll be temporary. Well, 2 plus years later, I'm here. And the truth is, the fact that you guys are graduating, I am devastated. I don't know what ministry looks like for me, but it's been a privilege being your leader, and yeah, I'm trying to do sappy stuff. So you guys didn't come to hear from me. You guys came to hear from the students. So first up is Aaron Midkiff.
I wish I knew a lot of things over the last 6 years that I was here, but probably the main one I would say is just kind of just stop and take in everything while you still can, because it goes away a lot faster than you think. Life moves pretty fast, and it can be really easy to get so focused on what's ahead of you that you don't enjoy where you are at the moment. Of course, you're going to look forward to getting older and graduation and all that, and I am too. But I promise, one day, especially for all the students that are still here, one day you're going to end up missing the days you're in. So, yeah. And then especially here at Renewal, it really is a special place. And I love all the guys that are here tonight and both my leaders very much. They've helped me out so much throughout just my whole life, really. Some of the most fun I've ever had was over these past years at Renewal, going to winter camps, doing all that stuff, summer camp, just hanging out at Charlie's house. It was all so fun, and I've made memories that are going to last a lifetime. So I'm so glad that I've got to have all the experiences I did. And I just think that no matter how old you are, every once in a while, just stop and look around and just soak it in where you are. Because a lot of times, you're going to miss things, and you end up missing them later on in life. So, when you're young, do something new, hang out with your friends, eat a ton of candy and junk food, just anything, whatever makes you feel young. Because although it may not feel like it, it goes by way too fast, honestly. So always look for the good in everything and enjoy your life right now, because when it's your turn to come up here, for everyone who's still here, that you'll be looking back over your time at Renewal and you're going to miss it too. So just enjoy the times you're in while you're in them.
Next up, Ben Campbell.
I started coming to Renewal during a tough time in my life because I had just moved from California to Idaho, and I lost all the friends I've accumulated over the years. This sent me into a downward spiral of introvertedness. I just made that word up. Pretty good word, I know. Making me forget that I needed a relationship and I needed to be real with God and people and other people. My life group, the senior guys, helped with that. And let me tell you something about the senior guys. They are a bunch of hooligans. That's a perfect word. That's such a good word. But my first time at Renewal, they were something else entirely. To this day, my life group and myself don't know why I came back. No idea. Maybe I saw it as a place where I could just hide out and be introverted because they were all very loud, so. And that worked for a while until I started to trust them a little more and be a little more real. Honestly, it took me time to be real. It took time to take some of the masks off that we all put on. But that's just how you build trust, by being who you are in front of the people you want a relationship with. Be real with each other, and sooner than later, because the sooner that you can be real, the faster you'll make deep, life-giving relationships that will last. And now, a few quotes that I've held on to recently. Just two, I guess. They're really, really important. The words of Christ aren't meant to produce a momentary analytical belch. They are meant to go marrow deep. And the next one's super, super serious. Life is short, drive fast, and leave a sexy corpse. Stanley Hudson.
Next up, Braden Goodman.
So about 5 years ago, I was invited by my friend Isaac to come to Renewal. He was like, hey, you should come to this church. It's a super awesome place, and come and hang out and whatnot. And on the inside, I honestly didn't know if I should, or if like I would get along with anyone or whatever. So I said I would go, but I didn't go. And as time progressed on, and a few weeks passed after he invited me over, I got to see, like, I saw everything that they do outside, all of the, like, the partying that pretty much happened out there, and I was like, oh, that looks awesome. So I decided to go over there one day, and I went through the service that we had, and it was amazing. It was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life, and it was actually the day for the start of Go Camp, and I remember I came home and asked my dad, hey, can you pay for this camp really quick, please? I kind of want to go. And sure enough, he paid for it, and I went that night. And that's when I met all of the senior guys and met Joey that night. And they just honestly have been the best group of friends I've ever had. Like, they've been there for me when I needed it and everything. And I just can't believe 5 years have gone by. It's crazy. Yeah, that's it.
Next up, Connor Himes.
Hello, everyone. I've been going to the Pursuit for almost 6 years now, and I've been a leader for 2. And I have this memory of a senior night years and years ago that I wonder who I'll be when I'm a senior. And what I've realized now over the years is that you just don't become the person you are when you're an adult, but it's the actions you take now at your age that determines who you'll grow up to be. When I was your age, I would have never had the confidence to be up on the stage speaking to you all tonight. But the reason why I'm up here is because a leader was willing to talk to me, a nobody with no friends. And through those talks, I was able to meet new people that I would have never been able to talk to. I was afraid at first because I was just so socially inept. But I took the risk of rejection and embarrassment. And now I have a group of amazing guys and some amazing adventures. And what I want to challenge you all tonight is that it's a risk worth taking. That there's almost no consequences for embarrassment or rejection. And if you're quiet like I was, and I assure you I was, then reach out, try to socialize, try to make new friends, because your life group can be a group of best friends for you. And if you're already socially good, then reach out to the quiet students, the younger and the older students, the leaders, anybody who could give you a good influence and wisdom. And for all students, I want to encourage you to listen to your leaders. Because much like tonight, where us seniors share our failures and our victories, they will gladly do the same for you if that means helping you. I've experienced great joys and great sadness while at this church. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I hope that when you're my age and you're up here tonight, or well, not tonight, but that you'll feel the exact same way. Thank you.
Up next, Cully Shannon.
So Renewal has been a growing experience in my life as a Christian and also just as a social person in general, because a lot of us back in junior high were all antisocial and weird, and I still am. And I'm really grateful that in 8th grade, Aaron invited me to the Gauntlet, because this has become probably my best friend group, my closest friend group that I can share everything that's going on with me in life. And so for high school, for all you going into high school and just trying to figure that out, I'd say it's not as bad as junior high. You definitely can be, you aren't judged as much, so just don't be afraid to be yourself in high school, and don't think of what other people are thinking about you. So.
Up next, Joel Parker.
Hey, everyone. A little voice crack there. Okay. Off to a great start. Oof. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to start off by saying thank you. I want to thank Charlie and Joey and every single guy in my life group. It was an absolute honor to live life with you and to grow with you and to become men with you. I couldn't have asked for a better group of guys to grow up with. I want to especially thank Coley, Braden, Connor, and Aaron for being with me since middle school. Real OGs right there. We've had some great memories, haven't we? I remember walking for a whole afternoon to deliver a watermelon to a fire department. And it's like a huge watermelon. It was like a 10-mile walk, it felt like. I remember sleeping in a super nasty tent during base camp. It smelled so bad. It was just absolutely terrible. And my personal favorite, Coley's super clutch dodgeball win freshman year against the Ambrose basketball team. They were all seniors, we were freshmen, and he just freaking killed it in overtime. He just did so awesome, yeah. It hasn't always been good, though. We've been abandoned by countless leaders for a variety of reasons, but what impressed me the most about these guys is that they kept coming back. Week in and week out, they were here, whether we had a leader or not. And yeah, it definitely freaking sucked when we lost a leader, but I think it made us stronger. We had to learn to depend on each other, and it ultimately set us up for success later on. Thankfully now we have Charlie and Moldy Meatball, who are easily the best leaders that we've ever had. So I love you guys. It's been quite the journey, and it's crazy to think that our time at Renewal is over because it feels like we just started. I went from being a little sixth grader who didn't even want to come to Renewal and was honestly scared to leave his parents for Go Camp. I was just like begging them not to go. I was like, I do not want to be here. Right. To graduating with these men who will be lifelong friends. I'm proud to call you my brothers, and I love you guys. To everyone else, take time and appreciate where you are in life. Make memories, laugh, and grow in your faith together. Enjoy the present, and don't look too far into the future, because you'll be in the spot before you know it. I'll end with the wise words of Ferris Bueller. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Thank you.
Up next, Logan Harrington.
So I want to start this thing off with an icebreaker. So I guess that's more of an ice ripper, but now to the serious part. So I've been to a lot of youth groups in my time, and most of the time the leaders seem like they don't really care that much, and they're just there to hang out. But here, every leader seems like they care so much. So, but yeah, you should definitely take advantage of that, because it's awesome having people around you that care so much about you. And I know it might be scary to share things to people that you don't really know that much, even if you know them, to share it to them. But I bet you would be surprised at how fulfilling it is and freeing it is to share to people, especially with these leaders, because they're #amazing, except for Charlie.
Up next is Ryan Perry.
I didn't actually prepare anything, and I'm realizing that was a really bad idea. But I just wanted to take this time to thank everybody in my life group for being there when I moved from California. It was really hard on me, but they were always there for me. I want to thank Charlie for always being a teacher in every way, not just here at church, but in politics or whatever we wanted to talk about. That was just ridiculous. And Joey for always being there for me to just talk to and to wrestle. The guy's a beast. I'm not kidding. But most of all, I want to thank Joel Parker for just taking me in when I moved here, and he kind of was forced to be my friend, so I just want to thank him for that and always sticking around with me. And it was an awesome high school experience, and I'm really glad that I got to spend it with you guys.
Okay, so we have a student who was a part of our youth group for a long time and actually moved away about 2 years ago. And so he wanted to share some words of wisdom as a surprise to you guys. So let's play this video.
Hey everyone, I'm Aiden. I'm a senior that I used to go to Renewal all the time, but I mean I moved, so I'm not there tonight. But I still wanted to send a video in just to let you know how my experience was. What Renewal meant to me, Renewal was it was one of the best experiences I've had for my whole life. It really taught me that loving people was the best thing you can do. Making sure people know that they are loved is the one thing that people lack these days. And by showing them that they're loved through some of the community service projects we did and some of the camps that we had is really what you need to do in order to make the world a better place. I mean, that sounds kind of cheesy, but it's so true. That was the biggest lesson I took away from my time at Renewal. And so some advice that I have for the underclassmen really would be, in school, stay persistent. Being persistent, you will achieve your dreams no matter what if you stay persistent. I mean, I'm sure you're told that all the time, but it's the truth. You just gotta stay persistent and stay on a good track. If you follow your dreams is really what I'm trying to say. I mean, that's pretty cheesy, but it's the truth. Just follow your dreams. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do what you want to do. Make sure, do it. Do it to your fullest extent and, devote yourself, your whole self to doing it. Based on, for Renewal, definitely get involved as much as you can. It'll be one of the most rewarding experiences you have, just like mine was. You'll learn a lot of stuff, not just from the leaders and a lot of the church organizers, but you'll learn a lot about yourself too. You'll learn a lot from yourself. You'll learn things that you didn't even think you knew. And you'll realize things about yourself that you didn't even know you were capable of, or you didn't realize you had a talent for, or you didn't realize that you were passionate about. So yeah, just stay persistent and get involved, really. Also, and to close this out, I'd like to give a shout out to all the senior guys out there. I mean, I know you guys miss me, but I'll see you guys soon, and I can't wait for what the future has in store for us. Thanks for listening.
Okay, so we actually have a pretty cool opportunity here for some students. I'm going to ask all of the senior leaders who are presenting tonight just to kind of come up to this side of the stage. Here's what we're going to do. We actually have some scholarships. BBC has granted 4 scholarships to 4 students, and so we're going to kind of present those one at a time. For the students, if you're one of the 4, they don't know who they are. When you come up on stage, just stay with the leader. Leaders, stay up here once you're finished, and we'll get a group photo, and then we'll go from there. So the first scholarship goes to a student, he's a guy in our life group, whose faith is without question. He's mature, he's smart, he has tons of opportunities, what he can do after high school. But the thing about him that impressed me the most is his genuineness and his maturity and his authentic faith. This is a kid who reads things from his journal that were written privately to the other guys in our group at camp, and made the other guys almost cry and sit there with their mouths open because of this kid talking about how he wants to love Jesus more. This is a student who I look up to both spiritually and metaphorically, but also literally. I'm talking about Ben Campbell. Get up here, buddy.
All right, so this next student, I had to think about this for a while, and I got to tell you, when I was that age, I never had a faith like this individual, and the first time I met him, I could just tell this kid is a natural leader, and he's going to do amazing things, and he constantly wants to grow close to Christ, and he's constantly reading, and he's always asking me deep questions, and I just thought, man, what a place where it would be for him to go to a Bible college and learn so much more. And I see this kid as a world changer in the future, and he talks about it all the time. And this one student, I have to say, is Alex Van Patten. So. All right, and then next we have Whitney Hurt.
That side, Joey. First of all, I'm so excited that we get to give these scholarships. I went to college for 8 years, and as much as I learned in my schooling, I've always looked up to one of my co-leaders, Shayna, and she went to BBC. And I just know that they are a great school, and I just want to encourage any of you that are looking to go there to do it. So this next student that we're going to be presenting, sorry, Andrew, that we're going to be presenting the scholarship to, she has been part of our life group for quite a while, and sometimes as leaders, we see students come in, we see them get super close to God, and then unfortunately, other things just happen in their life, and we try to seek them out, and they just don't always come back. This certain student did come back, and we saw God just wreck her life in a good way, and we're just so proud of her, and we're so thankful that she came back. We're so excited to see how God uses her in the future, and it's one of the most beautiful things we can see as a leader, to see someone go through a hard experience and then come back and hopefully use that experience to impact others in the world. So our next student we're presenting this to is Sam Sutton.
Hello. Yeah, so I did go to BBC for 4 years. I got an intercultural studies degree, which is really fun. I really enjoyed it. So for this student, she just is so sweet and has a lot of wisdom. She's not like the most outgoing person, but when you get and sit and talk with her, she's just will just talk to you, and you just have a good time. And she loves to, is like creative, and she loves to be with kids. And so I'm really excited to give this scholarship to Coral Robichaud. She's just amazing, so.
It's truly an incredible thing to watch as people live so much of their lives together. You can go through so much in a single year, let alone sometimes 2 years, 3 years, 5, 6, 7 years, like some of these leaders and students have. And it's an incredible and humbling and inspiring thing to have leaders who are willing to share so much of their time and energy in their life and what God has done in their life and the mistakes that they make. It's a vulnerability as a leader that takes a great deal of courage. And so can we give a hand to all of our senior group leaders tonight? But right now, I just really appreciate if you would all pray with me for our seniors and for our senior leaders. Heavenly Father, I'm just grateful for the people who have come to Renewal week after week after week, and not only come here to be fed by what you are desiring to share with them through the various speakers or through the worship or lessons or conversations, God, but that they came here to also love and to serve each other. Students and leaders alike, God, you have done incredible things through our seniors, through their life groups, through their leaders, the ways that you've impacted this community and communities that they have driven to serve others. Father, the work has been done by their hands is truly immeasurable, and the way that passes on and goes further than even what they do, God, we will truly never know. And so I'm just so grateful for their lives spent here, the time that they have given to you and to each other and to others, God. I pray that as they graduate, as they go on to new challenges and the unknown, that you would be there to encourage them, that you would surround them with new community that might be different, God, but I pray that it would be also strong and good, and that they would be able to help shape that because of their experiences here, from the things that they've learned in relationships here, God, that they would be able to care for others in that same way. Lord, I pray that you would bring them peace and comfort as things change, as they sometimes have to say goodbye, even if it's just for a time, Lord, to the people that have cared for them so much. I pray that you'd be with their families, that they could celebrate and mourn the loss, the change of something, as well as celebrate the great new things that are to come, Father. And we offer all this up to you because we trust you, because you brought us here and you have done an incredible work already, and we truly believe that you will continue to do even more of that, God. You're amazing. We love you. Amen.